verbs. Ber makes intransitive verbs. Ber also makes a small number of transitive verbs. Example 1a, bernama, berumur, named, aged. In addition, some verbs have Meng verb equivalents. Example 1b, bertemu dengan has the equivalent menemui, to meet someone, and bernyanyi and menyanyi, to sing. Although verbs do not take direct objects, many take complements. So for example, 2a, bernyanyi lagu, to sing songs. Verb complement pairs express abstractions as opposed to the actual events that are expressed by transitive verb, direct object pairs. So in example 2b, with the transitive verb, you have menyanyikan lagu lama, to sing an old song. Verbs specialize meanings. In most cases, the meaning of a verb can be readily ascertained from the meaning of the base. For example, jalan, a road, to walk, combines with to give jalan, to walk. However, here are 5 contexts that are more nuanced. Stative verbs. Stative verbs are intransitive verbs that express states. As is also the case for English, the distinction in Indonesian between a stative verb and an adjective is often fuzzy. Example 1a, here's a whole bunch. Bersifat jahat, evil-natured. Bersikap agresif, aggressive. Berkulit sisik, scaly-skinned. For example, stative verbs often not only modify nouns directly, but also indirectly in young relative clauses like adjectives. So for example, 1b, iblis berlidah cabang, or iblis yang berlidah cabang, a fork-tongued devil. Moreover, the adjective-like character of stative verbs is so strong that the learner may from time to time run across nouns that are ungrammatically modified by non-stative verb instead of the grammatically correct base. Example 1c, you have the grammatically dubious but very common kolam berenang, a swimming pool, compared to the grammatically correct kolam renang. Number 2, reciprocal action. Ber combines with certain noun bases to express reciprocal action between two actors. In example 2a, berteman, to be friends with each other. Similarly, the circumfix beran can also do this by combining with certain transitive verbs or duplicated transitive verbs. So example 2b, tabrak, to collide, becomes bertabrakan, to collide with each other. Example 2c, kejar, to chase, becomes berkejar-kejaran, to chase each other around. Alternatively, reciprocal action can also be expressed using base Meng base patterns or the adverbs saling, satu sama, line. In example 2d, you have base Meng base, pukul memukul, to hit each other. Example 2e, you have the alternatives saling menyukai, menyukai satu sama line, to like each other. In the case of saling, several I verbs can optionally drop the I. In example 2f, saling mencintai can be replaced with saling mencinta, to love each other. Number 3, group numbers. Group numbers for pronouns and nouns are made differently. Group numbers for pronouns are made by combining ber with a number and putting it after the pronoun. In example 3a, mereka berlima, the 5 of them. By contrast, group numbers for nouns are made by putting a ke ordinal in front of the noun instead of its regular position after the noun. In example 3b, Kalima, Komodo. The 5 Komodo dragons, instead of Komodo, Kalima, the 5th Komodo dragon. Similarly, duplicated numbers can optionally be combined with ber to express adverbs that mean together as a group of. In example 3c, kami lari berlima dari Komodo. 5 of us ran away together from the Komodo dragon. In the case of dua, berdua can be used interchangeably with berdua-dua, berduaan, dua-duaan, berdua-duaan. Number 4, ber plus a ke'an noun or peng'an noun comes out of the affix system. As described in the presentation about nominalization, some ke'an nouns and peng'an nouns that the affix system generates can be fed back into the affix system to make ber verbs. Example 4a, you start with the base cukup, enough. Turn it into kecukupan, the noun sufficiency, and then tack on ber to give ber kecukupan, sufficient. Example 4b, we've seen before, the noun base alam turns into peng alaman, an experience, and then fed back into the affix system to give ber peng alaman, experienced. And the opposite direction, some ber verbs that the affix system generates can also be fed back into the affix system to make ke'an nouns or peng'an nouns. Example 4c, start with sama, same, to get the ber verb, bersama, together, then feed it back into the affix system to give kebersamaan, the noun togetherness. 4d, rantas, broken, gives berantas, to eradicate. And then finally, fed back in the affix system results in pemberantasan, eradication. This makes sense. The second pass through the affix system allows the extended meanings of words that are generated by the first pass to be transferred to other word types. Utility words. Ber makes several useful words, such as blah, blah, blah. Ber verbs, circumfixes. The circumfix ber-an expresses reciprocal action, and both together when combined with dua or dua-dua, as we discussed in previous slides. Also, unfocused activity involving multiple participants. Example 2, kawanan Komodo berhamburan. The group of Komodo dragons scattered. By contrast to ber-an, the circumfix ber-kan exists, but it's rare. 2 examples. The base tulis, to write something, can be used as bertuliskan karakter Cina, inscribed with Chinese characters. Example 3b, the noun dasar, a base, can turn into berdasarkan karakter Cina, based on Chinese characters. Ber verbs duplication. Ber and ber-an often combine with duplicated bases to express various meanings. Duration. Ber plus a duplicated time word expresses duration. This pattern is often used together with the adverbs sejak, since, selama, during, or the noun lamanya, duration. Example 1a, you can do berhari-hari or sejak berhari-hari. Lamanya means for days. Alternatively, duration can also be expressed by the patterns se plus duplicated time period plus an, or sepanjang plus time period. In example 1b, you can say sehari harian or sepanjang hari, all day long. Indefinite quantity. Ber plus a duplicated measure word expresses indefinite qualities. Example 2, we've seen before. Berkaleng minuman berenergi berkafein. Cans and cans of caffeinated energy drinks. Variability. Per can combine with duplicated beta, different, or macam, a type, to express variability. For example, 3, kadal, bermacam-macam, various lizards. Reciprocal action and adverbs that mean together as a group of, as described above. So, example 4a, berkejar-kejaran, to chase each other around. 4b, kami lari berlima-lima dari Komodo. 5 of us ran away together from the Komodo dragon. Meng verbs. Meng makes transitive verbs. However, there are also many intransitive Meng verbs. For example, 1a, menari, to dance, meninggal, to die. Moreover, many transitive Meng verbs can be optionally used without an explicit object. Example 1b, menyapu, to sweep, menyisir, to comb. By contrast, Meng kan verbs and Meng I verbs can only be used with explicit objects. In addition, some Meng verbs have verb equivalents. Example 1c, we've seen menemui and bertemu dengan, to meet someone, and menyanyi and bernyanyi, to sing. Meng combines with bases that represent all sorts of word types. In the case of transitive verb bases, Meng is often simply used to make well-formed transitive verbs for use in the standard Meng register. So, for example, lampar and melampar mean to throw something, but you'll see melampar used in the standard Meng register. Meng kan verbs. In most cases, the meaning of a Meng kan verb can be readily ascertained from the meaning of the base. However, here are 3 contexts that are more nuanced. Causative kan. Causative kan is used when the verb's action makes the object do something or changes the object. Right? The verb's action makes the object do something. This context often uses bases that are intransitive verbs and is generally interchangeable with the pattern membuat plus object plus verb. Example 1. Bau mulut busuk Komodo, membangunkan kami. The stench of the Komodo dragon's rotting breath woke us up. Could also be expressed using membuat as Bau mulut busuk Komodo, membuat kami bangun. The verb's action changes the subject. This context often uses bases that are emotive adjectives and is generally interchangeable with causative memper or the pattern membuat object plus adjective. Example 2a. So you have 3 ways to say this. You could say Komodo menakutkan kami. That's the causative kan. Or Komodo mempertakut kami. That's the causative memper verb. Or Komodo membuat kami takut. They all mean the Komodo dragon scared us. Similarly, causative kan is also used in this context without a direct object to express adjective making or ing. So, for example, to be, sedih, sad, can be turned into menyedihkan, sad making or saddening. Kejut, surprised, can be turned into mengejutkan, surprising. These expressions express the reciprocal of their emotive adjective bases, like we just saw, and often behave more like adjectives than verbs. So, for example, Komodo sangat menakutkan. Komodo dragons are really scary. Compared to saya sangat takut Komodo. I'm really scared of Komodo dragons. Theoretically, Meng kan verbs that use an emotive adjective base are contronyms, a word that has 2 opposite meanings. For example, when used with an object, mengecewakan means not only to make someone disappointed in causative context, but also to be disappointed by something in regular transitive context. As shown in the table below, the regular transitive context is usually disfavored and instead expressed by using the corresponding adjective or passive verb. For example, to be disappointed by is usually expressed by kecewa pada, dibuat kecewa oleh, or dikecewakan or terkecewa instead of mengecewakan, which is used for the adjective disappointing. Number 2, benefactive kan. Benefactive kan makes ditransitive verbs, verbs that have a direct object and an indirect object. The indirect object is the beneficiary of the verb's action on the direct object. Here are some technical wrinkles. As in English, the indirect object beneficiary usually goes immediately after the verb. So in example 3a, saya mengambilkan komodo itu sepotong daging. I brought the Komodo dragon a piece of meat. Alternatively, you can use untuk buat bagi to mark the indirect object beneficiary and move it after the direct object. So in example 3b, we rewrite 3a. Saya mengambilkan sepotong daging untuk Komodo itu. I brought a piece of meat for the Komodo dragon. However, memberikan, to give someone something, is exceptional because it strongly prefers the opposite pattern. So in 3c, you don't say, saya memberikan komodo itu sepotong daging. You say, saya memberikan sepotong daging pada komodo itu. I gave the Komodo dragon a piece of meat. This is the opposite as what you would say in English. Finally, in order to avoid confusion, benefactive kan is not used in contexts that do not customarily have a beneficiary. So for example, you wouldn't say in 3D, saya menontonkan Komodo itu sebuah film. I watched a film for that Komodo dragon. If you had to say it, you would say, saya menonton film untuk Komodo. I watched a film for the Komodo dragon. Instrumental kan. Instrumental kan is used in contexts where the object is used to perform the verb's action. In example 4, saya memukulkan tongkat pada Komodo. I hit the Komodo dragon with a stick. Meng-i verbs. In most cases, the meaning of a Meng-i verb can be readily ascertained from the meaning of the base. However, here are 3 contexts that are more nuanced. Number 1, intense action. Example 1, memandangkan just means to look at someone, whereas memandangi means to gaze at someone. Number 2, locative I. Locative I makes transitive verbs whose object is the location of the verb's action on the base. So example 2a, the noun tanda tangan can be turned into menandatangi contract, to sign a contract. So contract is the location of the signature. When the location is a person, just the recipient of the action, the locative I verb often has a benefactive kan equivalent. So in example 2b, menghadiahi means to give someone a reward, has a benefactive kan equivalent, menghadiahkan, to give someone something as a reward. Although locative I is not ditransitive like benefactive kan, it can be conformed to its benefactive kan equivalent by including the direct object in a dengan clause. Example 2c, you could say, saya menghadiahkan komodo itu sepotong daging. That's the ditransitive. I rewarded the Komodo dragon with a piece of meat. Or you could say, saya menghadiahi komodo itu dengan sepotong daging. Finally, many locative I verbs have intransitive verb equivalents that express the location of their action using a prepositional phrase. Example 2D, saya mencintai Komodo, or saya cinta akan Komodo. I love Komodo dragons. Sometimes the locative I verb is used to express an extended meaning, so that marah pada, to be angry with someone, can turn into memarahi, to scold someone. Repetitive I. As we discussed before, repetitive I expresses repetitive action, and it's an exception to the general rule that I is only used for direct objects that remain static. So the example we used before in 3a, Komodo mencabik leher korbannya, the Komodo dragon tears out its victim's neck, can be reworked as Komodo mencabiki leher korbannya, to mean the Komodo dragon repeatedly tears at its victim's neck. Alternatively, repetitive action can be expressed using adverbs, such as berkali-kali, berulang-ulang, and berulang-kali. In 3b, you can say Komodo mencabiki leher korbannya, or use the adverb Komodo mencabik leher korbannya berulang-kali. Finally, when the final letter of the base is I, it merges with the I of locative I. So 4a, Meng I plus buri gives memburi instead of the non-merged memburi. By contrast, as we'll see later in another presentation, the ng register suffix in does not merge. So an example 4b, ny in plus hunti gives ny hunti in. Other Meng forms. Base Meng base. The base Meng base pattern is used with transitive verb bases to express reciprocal action or gerund like nouns for the action. Example 1a, pukul memukul, to hit each other, reciprocal action. Example 1b, masak memasak means all things cooking, or the gerund cooking. Memper combines with adjectives to form causative verbs with meanings analogous to causative kan. Many, but not all, speakers use causative memper and causative kan interchangeably. However, some speakers use causative memper to express that a pre-existing attribute of the object is intensified, and they use causative kan to express that the object takes on a new attribute. For example, you would use causative memper for cisgender breast augmentation and causative kan for transgender breast augmentation. As a mnemonic, think Christine and Wendy can, but probably didn't. I'll explain that on the next slide. Here are the examples. 2a, memper besar means to make something larger, but people can use it to mean make something that exists large, even larger. So the example is, Timmy Jean Lindsay adalah orang pertama yang diperbesar payudara. So Timmy Jean was the first person to have her breasts enlarged. In example 2b, we have causative kan, to make something larger, but here it would be something that didn't exist, and then it became large. So, for example, Wendy Carlos, mungkin tidak pernah dibesarkan payudara. Wendy probably never had breast implants. In dipassive, which is used in example 2a and 2b, memper becomes deeper. All right, here's Timmy Jean Lindsay. So you could say she memper besar payudara. Okay. In the passive context, TJ adalah orang pertama yang diperbesar payudara. And on the right, you have Christine Jorgensen and Wendy Carlos. You could say, mungkin tidak pernah membesarkan payudara. Maybe they never had breast implants. And there's the mnemonic. Christine and Wendy can membesarkan, but probably didn't.
Dahil sa'yo. Dahil sa'yo. Nais kong mabuhay. Nais kong mabuhay. Dahil sa'yo. Dahil sa'yo. Hanggang mamatay. Hanggang mamatay.
There are three more technical differences between causative memper and causative can. Number one, causative can combines with adjectives and a few intransitive verbs. Example 3a, membangunkan, to wake someone up. By contrast, causative memper not only combines with adjectives, but also status-related nouns. So, memperselir means to take someone as a concubine. The numbers 2, 3, 4 to express to divide into parts. In example 3c, mempertiga, to divide into thirds. And the preposition ole, because, to give, memperoleh, to get something. And the transitive noun base buat, to give, memperbuat, to do something. Example 2, causative memper, but not causative can be used for abstract objects. Example 3d, memerpanjangkan visa, to extend a visa. Why? I apologize because I do not have a clue. Number 3, memperindah, to beautify something, does not have a causative kan counterpart because mengindahkan is based on a secondary meaning of indah. It means to heed something. Memperkan. Memperkan makes transitive verbs. It has two things in common with meng that memper does not. Memperkan sometimes is simply used to make a well-formed transitive verb from a non-freestanding verb base. Example 4a, mempermainkan, to make fun of someone. And memperkan sometimes can be used interchangeably with meng or be. Mempersilakan and menyilakan, to invite someone to do something. So memperkan is not causative, but not surprisingly, memperkan sometimes is confused with memper and used ungrammatically to make causative verbs. Some of these grammatically dubious causative verbs are common. So for example, you'll hear mempermalukan, to embarrass someone. Memperi. There are a small number of causative memperi verbs. Example 5, memperbaiki, to fix or repair, and memperbarui and memperbaharui, to renew or repair.